I'm very excited to tell you this story that happened early in my diagnosis. It's meant so much to me. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'd just been released from the hospital, my chemo treatments, and made it home. That next morning, Monday morning, had devotions with my wife like we normally did. My daughter was leaving. How about this evening we prayed together as a family? I'm like, that's great, of course, sure. So that night after dinner, we all got together to pray. I kind of shared some updates and positive things that I was putting my faith on, and then I prayed. And of course, my prayer was for me. It was like, Lord, heal me. Thank you for your healing. Thank you for the benefits of my salvation. I was kind of going through that. And then they prayed. And each of them started to pray, of course, for me first, but then they had prayers of their own, prayers about God helping them with worry and fear and doubt. And they didn't mention things, but I recognized, wow, they're going through this with me emotionally. I had only been thinking about myself and my diagnosis and looking to God for help and getting my faith focused to receive healing. I had not been really thinking about the effect it was having on my family for me to be diagnosed with cancer. And they were dealing with negative thoughts and fears and things that they didn't want to dwell on, and they needed help, and they were asking God for help, like that passage, cast all of your cares on me and I'll give you the peace. Well, thought came, but I said, wouldn't it be nice if we could do communion together sometimes? I'm going to call and ask Pastor David to bring us some communion cups. And of course, we could get our own grape juice and crackers, but I just thought it would be neat to do the little communion cups like we do at church once a month. And you know what? I went to bed, went to sleep, and forgot all about it. The next day I got up and never called Pastor David, just totally forgot it. I went through my day, devotions and worship and thinking about other things. And at 9 o'clock that night, there came a knock at the door. And lo and behold, I looked out there, and there was Pastor David holding something in his hands. And as I looked, it was a big bag of communion cups, probably 30 or more communion cups. And I didn't even call. I forgot all about it. And I said, what brought this about? He said, I was at church doing some things, getting ready for next week, some church stuff. And this thought came to me. God was impressing upon me that this coming Sunday was going to be communion service and that it was going to be something special and that I was to make certain songs and so forth because it's going to be a special time of communion. And the thought hit my mind, Mark won't be able to be there because of his low immune system. He'll be at home. I bet he would like to participate with us. And I thought, I'm just going to get them some communion cups. And then a thought came, and I'm going to go ahead and take them over there tonight, even though it's late and I'm wanting to get home and get to bed. I'm going to do it now so I don't forget. He just chuckled. I didn't want to forget what God was telling me to do. And I said, David, you're such a blessing. You don't know what this means because we were praying together and this thought came, a desire of mine. And I said it out loud, but then I forgot to call you. And the Lord went ahead and spoke to you for me. Well, it was a tremendous blessing because it showed me, it revealed to me, God was with me. God was in this with us. God was looking at the desires of our heart, maybe even giving us the desires so that he could intervene and help, and that he was answering prayer and he was faithful to be with us. Wow. When you're in a difficult situation and you feel like you're facing it all alone, those little moments where God reveals that I am there with you, that he's there with you in the middle of that, brings such assurance and such hope and such faith and a relief, in fact, that we're not in this alone. Well, I was just so happy and so blessed. That next night we did our prayer time together and took communion together, and it was wonderful. But as it came up to that next Sunday, and I remembered David saying it was going to be special, I tuned in online, church online, to watch, and lo and behold, it was something special. In fact, they had a special worship set and special songs, and they were singing a song about God, heal my bones, heal my blood, as if it was written for me, speaking to the dry bones in Ezekiel, but a song somebody had made about speaking and declaring healing over our bones to be made alive again. Then he went to communion time, and it wasn't just the normal communion where, say a few verses, talk about the bread, talk about the juice, everyone take together. They actually Pastor David spent about 15, 20 minutes on the communion part of the service, giving prophetic words and really bringing things to light that was powerful for healing. And then the service, he didn't have much time left to preach. He only did like probably a 15-minute sermonette, and then back to worship with that song again about speaking life to our bones and healing for our bodies. It was a powerful service, and I was fully engaged and did that communion with them. And you know what? Here's the interesting thing. The next day, Monday, was a holiday, so I couldn't get to the doctor. But on Tuesday, I was scheduled for a bone marrow biopsy, my next one, to see where I was at. And on that Tuesday morning, they did that biopsy. Of course, we didn't get the results till later in the week, but I was going to find out at the end of that week on Friday that biopsy on Tuesday showed that I was in remission, that the cancer was gone. I wholeheartedly believe that not only was God with me and showing me that he was with me to meet the desires of my heart and to get my pastor involved and to move on his heart and to cause that special service, but that was the event that drove the cancer out and me to remission. The doctors had sent me home saying that it'd probably be 2 or 3 weeks. We'll be checking each week for doing biopsies. And once you get into remission, then we'll do 28-day cycles. But it was the very first week that I was home that I had that communion service and God intervened. I bring this story to you. Not only am I excited about telling what God did for me, but I believe he's not a respecter of persons. He'll do the same for you. And I encourage you and challenge you to be looking for those moments in the day where God shows himself, reveals that he's with you in this journey and that you're not alone and that he is faithful to his word, that we are healed and that we can receive that grace and love from him. Thanks for listening.